Chapter 13 of Ramayana's Balakanda, the Yaga of Vishwamitra. Jai Shri Ram. The young princess went to the presence of the Rishi and asked him, "We would like to be told when the Rakshasas will make their appearance. We want to be prepared for their coming." Looking at them, eager to fight with the Rakshasas and to kill them, the Rishis in the ashrama of Vishwamitra were pleased beyond measure. They spoke gently and softly. "From today, the yaga will last for 6 days. Since he has taken up the Diksha, the great saint Vishwamitra is silent. He has to observe the vow of silence. For 6 days and 6 nights, you will both have to be alert and guard the Yagnashala." "We will do so," said Rama. The brothers took up their bows, strung them, and stood grasping them firmly with their left hand, and with the arrows poised in their right hands, they stood alert, ready, and eager. Day and night they went round the Yagnashala, guarding it like the eyelids guard the eyes from danger. 5 days and 5 nights passed without any mishap. Rama said, "Lakshmana, be very careful. Today is the last day and we have to be prepared for the coming of the two evildoers." The fire in the Yagnakunda was burning with a great brilliance as Rama spoke. It was a great and glorious sight. The fire, presided over by the noble Vishwamitra and surrounded by all the rishis. The music of the recital of the Vedas, sonorous, slow, and dignified, filled the 4 quarters with a feeling of awe and at the same time peace. It purified the very air which carried it everywhere. There was a sudden noise like the clap of thunder at the coming of monsoon. Like a rain cloud darkens the sky during the rainy season, the sky was suddenly dark. Rama and Lakshmana knew that the Rakshasas had appeared. They had their myrmidons with them, and there reigned a ghastly rain made up of blood and flesh. The Rakshasas did not expect any opposition, and they had not assumed the Maya tactics, and Rama could see them clearly. Angered beyond measure at the manner in which they were trying to pollute the holy Yagnashala, Rama told Lakshmana, "Look, Lakshmana, look at these flesh-eating Rakshasas who are trying to molest these good men. Watch me scatter them and their associates like the rain clouds will be by a fast wind." Angry with the act of the intruders, Rama took up the astra called Manavastra and aimed it at the chest of Maricha. Taken unawares, unused to opposition from anyone at any time, Maricha felt as though lightning had struck him. Before he could even think, the astra carried him to a distance of 100 yojanas and threw him into the sea. But it did not kill him. Rama said, "Look at this Manavastra and its powers. Lakshmana, it has carried this sinner to a distance of 100 yojanas and has thrown him into the sea. But it has not killed him. This is a compassionate astra. It punishes but does not kill. The noble Vishwamitra had told us much, and it is true. But I am not going so much of latitude to the others. I will kill all of them." Rama took up the Agneya astra, the astra presided over by fire, and aimed it at the chest of Subhahu, the other miscreant. Subhahu fell to the ground dead. With the help of Vayavastra, the astra presided over by the god of wind, so it should be Vayu astra, Rama killed the rest of the Rakshasa host. The Yagna was protected only too well by Rama and Lakshmana, and there was great joy in the hearts of all the rishis in the Siddhashrama. That night was the last night of the yaga. The next morning, after the conclusion of the yaga with the proper rituals, Vishwamitra called the young men to his side and said, "Rama, you are indeed a great warrior, and your fame will now spread in all the 4 quarters. With your help, I have been able to complete the yaga which I had begun some time back. Siddhashrama is Siddhashrama today. Rama and Lakshmana were happy that they had accomplished the task which they had undertaken, and they spent the night in a happy frame of mind. When the night had passed and when the sun's rim brightened the eastern sky, they rose up from their sleep. They went to their Guru Vishwamitra, who was surrounded by a crowd of rishis. Everyone was looking radiant since the yaga, which at a time seemed an almost impossible task to have been taken up, had been completed with the help of the young princes from Ayodhya. As soon as they saw the young men, they all blessed them in unison with the words, Jaya Vijayi Bhava, Jaya Vijayi Bhava. May you ever be victorious. Vishwamitra sat with a gentle smile on his lips. Rama spoke to him in a respectful and soft voice. He said, "We are here waiting for further commands from you. Please, my lord, tell us what we should do now." Vishwamitra said, "In Mithila, King Janaka is performing a yaga. He is a very righteous king, a Rajarshi. We are all going to Mithila, and I would like you to come with us. There is something in Mithila which will interest princes like you. The famed bow of Mahadeva is there with Janaka, and I am sure you will like to have a look at it. That bow is very powerful, and it is said to glow like the sun. It was given to the ancestors of Janaka during the performance of a yaga. It is also well known that no Deva, nor an Asura, nor a Gandharva, or a man has been able to lift and string the divine bow. Many were the kings and princes who tried to, but they failed miserably. You must see this bow, Rama. It is a wonderful bow. It is placed in the palace of the king and is worshipped with flowers and incense every day. We will soon begin our journey to Mithila." Jai Shri Ram. Om Shri Ramar Pranamastu. Chapter 14 of Ramayana's Balakanda, to Mithila. Shri Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunataya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha. Vishwamitra addressed the demigods who guarded the ashrama and the forest. "I have completed what I had undertaken. The Siddhashrama has retained her name. After visiting Mithila, I will proceed towards Himavan, the mountain where the sacred Ganga has her source. I wish you well, and this place will always be a blessed spot." Accompanied by the rishis and by Rama and Lakshmana, the sage Vishwamitra made a pradakshina to the ashrama and began his journey towards the north. Several people followed them, even the birds and the deer which were living in the ashrama. With gentle, persuasive words, Vishwamitra coaxed them back and proceeded with the journey. After covering a considerable distance, when the sun was sloping westwards, they reached the banks of the river Sona and remained there. They sat around Vishwamitra when they found a charming spot to relax. Rama, with his brother, sat very near the rishi. He asked Vishwamitra, "This country is beautiful. I see nothing but green everywhere, and evidently it is very fertile and fruitful land. Tell me, whom does it belong to?" Vishwamitra was only too eager to answer his question. He began, "Lord Brahma had a son by name Kusa. He was a great tapaswin, and he married the daughter of the king of Videha, and 4 sons were born to him: Kushambha, Kushanambha, Adur, Tarjas, and Vasu. All of them were valiant like their father and equally righteous. The king asked his sons to follow the dharma of Kshatriya and to rule the world. They found 4 cities and each ruled one. Kushamba's city went by the name Kaushambi. Kushanambha's city was Mahodhya, Adurtarjas named his city Dharmaranya, Dharmaranya, and Vasu was the ruler of the city by name Giri Vrija. This country, which you admire so much, is called Vasumati and it belongs to Vasu. There are 5 mountains here, and the river, which has its source in the Magadha kingdom, flows in between the mountains like a garland of flowers flung on the earth. Kushanabha had 100 daughters who were given to Brahmadatta, a noble rishi. The king was desirous of a son and he asked Brahmadatta to perform a yaga for him. During the performance of the yaga, Kusa, the father of Kushanabha, said, "Do not worry, you will be the father of a son by name Gadi. Because of him, your name will be famed throughout the world." After some time, a son was born to Kusanabha, and his name was Gadi. Rama, Gadi was my father. My elder sister was Satyavati, and she was given in marriage to a saintly man by name Richaka. She was so pure and so good that she reached the heavens with the human body. She became a sacred river by name Kaushiki. This pure woman, my sister, was born into this world only to do good to others. This is the reason why I spend all my time on the banks of Kaushiki in the Himavan mountains. When I am there, unbelievable peace enfolds me and I am extremely happy. Because I had a duty to perform, I left the banks of that pure river and came down south. I came to Siddhashrama, and with your assistance I was able to achieve what I had set out to do. Now you know whose country this is. Look, half the night has passed by. I have been talking unaware of the passing of time. The trees have gone to sleep, perhaps. Even a leaf does not move. So still is the night. Animals and birds have covered themselves with this dark night and have gone to sleep. The first half of the night is gradually disappearing, and the sky, studded with the myriad stars, seems to have 1,000 eyes with which to look at us. The moon is just now brightening the east, and his soft rays will soon embrace the world and banish the enveloping darkness. Only the night birds, the Pishachas, Rakshasas, and Bhutas are making use of the darkness. You must sleep now, children. We must continue the journey tomorrow. We will set about it early in the morning. Jai Shri Ram. Om Shri Ramarpanamastu. Chapter 15 of Ramayana's Balakanda. Ganga. Om Shri Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunataya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha. The music of the birds and the rustling of the waters of the river Sona were waking them up, and soon they were awake. Even before they could get up, Vishwamitra was by their side, and he said, "Children, the dark night has passed and the dawn is fast approaching. Let us hurry and make preparations for the journey." Rama and his brother soon went to Vishwamitra, ready to leave with them. He asked Vishwamitra, "My lord, this river does not seem to be fed enough with water. I can see sandy islands here and there breaking the even flow of the river. Where are we planning to cross the river?" "We will follow the path of the rishis who have gone this way before," said Vishwamitra, and the troop walked fast towards the north. After a long trudge, when the sun hard reached the zenith, they saw in front of them the broad expanse of the sacred river Ganga. They were thrilled at the sight of the river, with swans and lotuses floating on its surface. They stood for a while looking at the beauty of the waters, and they made up their minds to spend some time on her banks. As usual, in the evening, they sat around Vishwamitra. Rama asked the rishi, I want to hear the story of this sacred river Ganga. She is called Tripadaga, the river with the three paths. How did she purify the three worlds and finally reach the sea, the Lord of all rivers? I am very eager to listen to the thrilling story. There is a mountain by name Himavan, began Vishwamitra. Himavan is the lord of all mountains, and he had two daughters who were unrivaled in beauty. Their mother was Meena, also known as Manorama. Ganga was the elder of the two daughters, and the younger is known by the name Parvati and also by the name Uma. The Devas wanted Ganga for themselves. They went to Himavan and asked him to make a gift of his daughter to them. Himavan agreed, and Ganga, who converted herself into a river, flowed in the heavens, and her waters purified whatever it touched. She was famed as Mandakini in the heavens and is also known as Akasha Ganga. The other daughter, Uma, performed severe tapas, and her devotion was rewarded. Her father gave her to Lord Mahadeva. These two daughters of Himavan are worthy of the worship of the three worlds. Rama, one of your ancestors, was a king by name Sagara. He was for a long time childless. He had two wives. One was Kesini, the daughter of the king of Vidarbha. The second wife was Sumati, the daughter of Kashyapa. She was famed for her beauty. With a desire for a child, the king went to the slopes of the Himavan with his wives. There he performed tapas. After 100 years had passed, the rishi Bhrigu came to him and said, You will certainly become a father, and because of them, your name will be ever remembered by the world of men. One of your wives will be the mother of a son, only one son, who will continue the line of the Ikshvakus. The other will be the mother of 60,000 sons, all valiant, powerful, and brave. The princesses were very happy, and they stood before him humbly and said, Which of us will be the mother of the 60,000 sons, and which of us will bear the son who will continue the line? We are eager to know. Bhrigu said, The choice is yours. One of you will have to choose the single progeny, while the other will have the 60,000 sons. Kesini, the elder queen, chose to be the mother of the only son, while Sumati, the younger, was happy in the anticipation of her many sons who were to be born to her. King Sagara took leave of the rishi and went back to his kingdom. In course of time, a son was born to Kesini. He was named as Asamanja. To his dismay, the king realized that this son was wicked in the real sense of the word. He enjoyed doing evil acts. When he was a young boy, he would catch hold of young children and throw them into the river Sarayu. He would stand watching them struggling in the water before they were drowned. He would clap his hands in glee. Sagara thought that he would improve as he grew older. But no, he became more and more unpopular. The town folk finally came to the king and told him about the atrocities performed by the prince. Righteous man that he was, Sagara did not hesitate even for a moment. He meted out punishment for such a miscreant, banishment from the kingdom. The one consolation the king had was that Asamanja's son by name Amshuman did not inherit his father's nature, but was a good, sweet, gentle child, ever devoted to his grandfather. The other wife of the king, Sumati, became the mother of the 60,000 sons, as had been prophesied. Lusty young men who were very powerful, handsome, and extremely arrogant. They were the pride of the mother. Once Sagara wanted to perform the Ashwamedha. The location of the Yagnashala was beautiful. The north is proud of the powerful Himavan, and facing it, which is a large range. These two mountains stand as though challenging each other in greatness. The land between these two was chosen as the site for the Yagnashala. The youngster Amshuman was asked to accompany the sacrificial horse in its triumphant march through all the kingdoms. Indra, who is ever jealous of the kings of the earth who perform the Ashwamedha, was very prompt in stealing the horse, and he disappeared with it. The Pandits who were performing the yajna could not proceed with the rituals until the horse was found, and they told the king about the urgency of the matter. They said, unless the horse is found and the yaga is completed, grave disaster will follow. Sagara called his powerful sons and said, you have heard the words of the rishis. Please make haste and go in search of the horse. This sacrifice can be performed without any fault by only very few people, and once begun, it has to be concluded. Please go at once and search in all the four quarters and in the nether worlds too also. The lusty Kshatriya princes, the Sagaputras, who were very happy to do so as they were told. They set out in quest of the horse. With their powerful arms, they dug up the earth. Each prince allotted to himself 1 yojana of ground and dug into it. The entire surface of the earth had been dug up, and they could not find the horse. The earth groaned under the fierce onslaught of the princes. Serpents, animals, and even the Rakshasas suffered, and the air was filled with their cries of pain, which were piteous to hear. When they did not find the horse on the surface of the earth, Sagara's sons entered the nether regions. They saw the Diggajas, the elephants bearing the earth on their mighty heads, Veerapaksha, Mahapadma, Saumanta, and Bhadra. But they were not able to see the horse. Finally, they went deep into the netherlands, and they came to the vicinity of a cave. When they were wondering as to who was inside, they heard the neighing of a horse. The princes were surprised at this. Promptly, they went inside the cave. It was an ashrama which was more like a cave than usual hermitage. When they went inside, the valiant brothers saw Kapila Vasudeva, the great rishi who was lost in meditation. Beyond him, beyond where he was sitting, they saw tied to a tree their father's sacrificial horse. They were happy that their search was at an end. The son of Sagara shouted, "This is the thief! He has stolen our horse, and having reached this underground retreat, he has assumed the garb of a sannyasi and pretends to be in deep meditation. Let us punish him." With their minds completely bemused because of their anger against the rishi, the sons of Sagara rushed at Kapila with their hands holding different weapons. They shouted at the great man, calling him thief, and Kapila, opening his eyes because of the noise they made, saw what was happening. He looked at them with angry eyes, and that was enough to reduce all of them to ashes. The 60,000 sons of Sagara were now just a heap of ashes. The rishi went back into trance as though nothing had happened. Sagara, in the meantime, waited in vain for the return of his sons with the horse. Finally, he asked his grandson Amshuman to go and find out what had happened. The young prince went along the path which his uncles had taken and soon reached the cave where Kapila was. Amshuman entered the cave, and there he saw the horse. Amshuman stood humbly and waited for the great man to come out of his samadhi. When Kapila opened his eyes, he saw a young man standing before him with folded palms. Amshuman prostrated before the rishi, and taking the dust off his feet, he spoke to him and told him about his errand. Kapila said, "Here is your horse, child. Indra, as usual, has stolen it and brought it here. As for your uncles, there they are," he said, and pointed the heap of ashes. They behaved in an unforgivable manner, and with my looks I burned them to ashes. Amshuman looked around for water so that he could offer the funeral oblations, the tarpana to his elders. But he could not find water everywhere there. But he could not find water there. But he found Garuda, the brother of Sumati, coming towards him. And he said, "Child, do not be too unhappy. This is but the law of nature. Your uncles, my nephews, were too arrogant to be popular. As for the Anjali you want to offer them, ordinary water will not wipe out their sin. Ganga, the elder daughter of Himavan, is the only one who will be able to purify them. Ask her to come down to the earth. The holy waters of Ganga must wet these ashes. Then and only then will they attain salvation." Amshuman was speechless with sorrow and with the stupendous task which he had been asked to undertake. Garuda then said, "That will be later. Now hurry with the horse to the presence of your grandfather and let him complete the Ashwamedha." Amshuman returned to the kingdom with the horse and the sacrifice was concluded. But the king was greatly unhappy at the turn of events. He did not know how to make the divine river Ganga flow on the earth. After some time, he left the kingdom in the hands of his grandson Amshuman, and the king Sagara, accompanied by his wives, went to the forest to perform tapas and then to reach the heavens. Amshuman ruled the kingdom well, and he had no time to try and woo Ganga to come down to the earth. He had a son by name Dilipa. Amshuman left the kingdom in his hands and went to the slopes of the Himavan to perform penance in order to get Ganga. But it was in vain. He died without accomplishing his object. Dilipa also suffered the same way. He could not, during his reign, achieve the desire in the hearts of all of them, the coming of Ganga to the earth and the salvation of the sons of Sagara. Om Shri Ramarpanamastu. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shri Krishnarpanamastu. Chapter 16 of Ramayana's Balakanda. Bhagirathas penance. Shri Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha. Dilipa had a son by name Bhagiratha. Dilipa ruled the kingdom until illness overtook him, and crowning Bhagiratha as the king, Dilipa died. The one purpose in the life of Bhagiratha was to make his ancestors reach the heavens. He left the kingdom in the hands of efficient ministers and went to perform tapas. Brahma was pleased with the intense tapas which the king was bent on, and he appeared before Bhagiratha and said, "The Devas and I are pleased with your penance. Ask what thou wilt of me. I will certainly grant it." Bhagiratha, with his eyes filled with tears of gratefulness, spoke in a voice choked with tears. "My lord, if you want to grant me a boon, grant me this, that my forefathers reach the heavens. I have to perform the Nirvapanjali for them with the waters of the Ganga. And my lord, the line of the Ikshvakus should not terminate with me. These are the boons I ask of you," said Bhagiratha. Brahma said, "Have no fear. Your line will not stop with you. You will be the father of a son. As for Ganga, you know that she is the daughter of Himavan. When she descends from the heavens, no one will be able to bear the force of her descent except Lord Mahadeva. You must pray to him." Bhagiratha now addressed himself to Mahadeva and spent a whole year fasting with just air for food. Mahadeva was pleased with the devotion of the king and appeared before him and said, "My mind is pleased with you and your desire to win for your forefathers a place in the heavens. I will take Ganga on my head and break the force of her descent. Ganga, the daughter of Himavan, had at the command of Brahma agreed to come down to the earth. According to the promise Bhagirath, he had given Bhagirath, Lord Mahadeva stood on a raised plateau of the mountain by name Himavan. All the heavenly beings had assembled in the skies to see the great and glorious sight. Bhagirath was standing with his eyes lifted to the skies from where Ganga was to descend. They were waiting, and suddenly they heard a mighty roar. Ganga was in the sky, and an immense sheet of water began to rush towards the earth. It seemed as though the sea had reached the heavens and was rushing back to the earth in a hurry. Ganga had become very proud of the fact that she was indispensable. She told herself, I will rush down with such fury that I will sweep Mahadeva into the Patala and the earth too. Gauging her mind, Mahadeva knew that her pride had to be humbled. He stood with his trident held behind his back, with both his hands, with his head slightly raised, and a beautiful smile shadowing his lips. So he stood when Ganga came down to the earth. So he stood when Ganga came down to the earth. The sacred Ganga fell straight on to the hollowed head of Mahadeva. Everyone was watching her descent. Then they saw a strange sight. Ganga's waters were coming down from the sky, but when they reached the matted locks of my Lord Mahadeva, they were absorbed by them. Ganga was lost there and no one could see her. True as she might, she could find no way out of the tangled mass of the Lord's locks. Bhagirath was desperate, and he praised the Lord and prayed that he should have compassion on him. Mahadeva felt that he had punished her enough, and he allowed Ganga to emerge from his jata along a single strand of hair. Drop by drop she came, and a pool was formed, which was named Bindusaras. Drop by drop she came, and a pool was formed, which was named Bindusaras. Ganga was thus called Alakananda. Ganga was thus called Alakananda. When the pool became a lake, when it was full, the river flowed in 7 streams. 3 of these flowed eastwards and 3 towards the west. The 7th followed Bhagirath as his chariot rushed towards the south, towards the cave where the Sagaraputras were waiting for their deliverance. The earth looked like the sky with swans flying around. So white was the foam of the river as she flowed the king's chariot. She was so willful. Here she would flow straight as an arrow, and there she would wind like a serpent. She would rush fast at some spots, and at others she would just meander like a woman walking in her pleasure garden. She would flow smoothly on the ground for a while, and suddenly she would tumble like a child at play. So she went to purify the earth. She had washed the feet of Narayana, and she had passed the region of the moon. She had been born on the head of Mahadeva, and thus thrice purified, she had come down to the sinful earth to grant salvation for a fistful of ashes. Such is the greatness of the heavenly borns. Ganga reached Patala, and finally Bhagirath's dream came true. He saw the ashes of his ancestors drenched in the waters of the divine Ganga. Brahma came to Bhagirath and said, Child, you have achieved something which was by no means easy. So long as the waters remain in the ocean, your forefathers who gave the ocean its name Sagara will remain in the heavens. Ganga will be your eldest daughter in the eyes of the gods, and she will be called Bhagirathi. Vishwamitra's narration was complete, and he said, Rama, my child, as usual I have been talking for so long. I have told you the story of how Ganga came down to the earth. Ganga, who is Tripataga, Since she was in the heavens, on the earth, and in Patala too, evening is fast approaching. Let us prepare to rest for the night. What a thrilling tale! Exclaimed Rama. Neither he nor his brother could bet over the thrill of it. They spent the whole night thinking of the strange things which had happened long ago, and so passed the night. Om Shri Gangar Panamastu. Om Shri Ramar Panamastu.